Yo, what's up viewers, it's your boy Blaze Hollow coming at you with a new what if. This time I'll be bringing you what if Deku had the Dragon of the Darkness flame. I'm really sorry that I've been gone for a while. Will try to make sure that I upload a lot more often, so let's start that intro and get into it.
See me through the fuck, bitch. Crazy, saying that she hate me. Obliterate the pussy feral animal with rabies. Yo, bitch, fucking dirty. She got scabies. Wipe the Tatiana that trapped you with some babies. Everyone thinking that they gon' save me. Depressive motherfucker, I don't wanna steal you.
They say that fire is what gave humanity life. Others will say that flames are what destroys it, but this is a story where both factors are true. As it was a very rainy day, even though the summer was about to begin, students were looking out the window hoping that the rain would stop soon. As they actually hear the sound of paper hitting against a desk, they look to see a boy with blonde, ashy hair and a boy with black and green hair playing paper football. So, Izuku, do you feel bothered by the rain knowing that it weakens your quirk? Izuku didn't seem fazed as he flicked the paper football in between his friend's fingers. Not really, Bakugo. My flames are so hot that the raindrops turn into vapor as soon as they touch me. If anything, they make for a really great smoke screen. Bakugo thought about it and realized how cool that actually might be. Really now, you'll have to show me. Unfortunately, the rain does not go good with my explosion. It dilutes the nitroglycerin in my sweat. Izuku puts his hands up like he was making a field goal. Well, maybe you should find a way to store up the nitroglycerin. That way when you can't make potent explosions on your own, you have the steady supply to help you out. Bakugo flicks the paper football, missing the goal by an inch. That actually doesn't sound like a bad idea. Maybe I'll add that into my hero costume when I get into UA. After a few minutes, the teacher came in motioning with his hands for all the students to put the classroom back together, as everybody did. Once everybody got into their seats and ready to listen for the teacher's next instruction. You know, I was originally going to be giving you this written exam for different forms of curricular, as he tosses a bunch of papers into the air, allowing them to scatter all about the classroom. But why bother? I know that all of you want to go into the hero course. Bakugo stood up onto his chair, making small explosions in his hand. Hey teach, don't lump Izuku and I in with these extras. They'd be lucky if they even come close to becoming heroes. All of the students were about to argue about that statement as the teacher was getting ready to calm everybody down, only for Izuku to grab onto Bakugo's wrist and pull him back into his seat as he walks up to the front of the classroom. Excuse my friend, but he isn't wrong. Some of us will go deep into our hero lives while others will only do certain things about it. It doesn't matter as long as we all do our part. We will be heroes in my eyes, and don't let anybody put you down because of your own form of heroism. The teacher started to clap his hands, proud to hear that one of his students is actually trying to keep morale up. Very good, Izuku. Thank you for getting everybody under control, but I would appreciate if you would take your seat so I can finish class. Izuku nods as he goes back to his seat, whispering over to Bakugo. Sorry about that, but I just didn't feel like hearing everybody whining about your statement today. Bakugo shrugged it off, a little bit annoyed, but not like he really wanted to do anything about it. I guess I see your point. I just hate it when people lump us in with the weaklings when we're so much better than they are. Izuku smirks as he just rolls his eyes. How about I show you that cool little smokescreen trick that I was telling you about earlier if that rain sticks around? Bakugo started to chuckle, hoping that the rain would now stick around for a few more hours. Okay, but you better not try to back out of it. I really want to see how that trick works. As a couple of hours have passed, everybody grabs onto their umbrella because it was still raining, getting even worse. As Izuku and Bakugo walk out normally, only for the rain to start parting around them and making a little bit of mist as they walk down the street, taking the long way home, as both of them could appreciate the little trick. Bakugo actually had to step back a little bit to cool off underneath all that heat that his friend was emitting. I can definitely understand now why you don't bring an umbrella on rainy days for school. Izuku smiled as he moved his hand out to make the mist form into the shape of words as it said, "I told you so." It's very simple. I heat a certain area around me to a high enough degree that the water actually starts to turn into vapor. Because of that, it's more of a science than actual trick. Bakugo started to motion for them to take an even longer way home. Then why don't we take an even longer way home? I want to test something out while it's still raining. As they took the long way home, they go underneath an underpass. As they go through, they start to hear the rattling of a manhole cover as they both jump back, watching some kind of sludge come out of it as its face started to form. It looked worried as it went back and forth, quickly spotting both of the boys as it started to get a grin on its face, while it started to chuckle out loud. Looks like it's both of your kids. Unlucky day. I didn't realize that he was in town, so I'm going to need one of your bodies as a shield. Izuku started to look over at Bakugo with a grin on his face. So, do you feel like dying today? Bakugo started to roll his eyes as he looked over at Izuku. No, why do you feel like dying today? Izuku thought about it for a second as he snapped his fingers together, making them light ablaze on his fingertips. Not really, so it means that we're going to have to to defend ourselves until heroes show up, or else we're going to have to take this guy down ourselves. The sludge villain started to lunge forward with his tendrils, trying to grab onto both of the boys. You're both going to die here. It doesn't matter how strong you think that you are. Izuku and Bakugo tapped their fists together, letting out a massive explosion of dark flames, splattering the sludge villain against the wall, which causes the sludge villain to shrink underneath the massive amount of heat that both of the boys are giving off of themselves. As they both get closer, stepping onto the sludge villain's face violently, Izuku just shook his head as he was disappointed on how weak this villain actually was. You really thought you were going to be able to take on somebody with flames like mine? Bakugo was angry, wanting to beat the crap out of the sludge villain even more. Or somebody with massive explosions like myself, but you should really know that when we fight together, we're unstoppable. After a few minutes of them beating the crap out of the sludge villain, All Might appeared, seeing the spectacle as he was watching in surprise, not understanding how a bunch of teenagers took out that villain so easily. When Bakugo and Izuku noticed that the number one hero had arrived, they quickly ran over to him and asked for an autograph, as All Might quickly obliged and was confused about the entire spectacle. Would either of you like to explain to me what happened here? I'm actually appreciative that you took out the villain even though you shouldn't have. The real question is, how did you do it? Izuku spoke first like he was getting ready to give a lecture. Well, it's simple. The both of us have key factors to the villain's weakness. My flames get so hot to the point it causes anything to evaporate. That's probably why his whole body is starting to shrink a little bit. Bakugo held out his hand with some sweat in it as he ignites it to make a small explosion. The hotter that I can get my nitroglycerin, the more impactful that it could make an explosion. That's why I want Izuku and myself to work together. My explosions are a lot more powerful when he's around. All Might started to stroke on his chin, thinking about everything that these two boys just told him about. That's very interesting. I could definitely see the both of you becoming great heroes, especially as a tag team group. But as much as I would love to continue chatting, I must go. I have other hero work I must get done today. The both of them watch All Might put the sludge villain into a bottle as he jumps into the rain at a distance. As they both shrug their shoulders, kind of feeling happy that their idol just acknowledged the both of them. As they go over to Izuku's house to study, but they were both surprised when they found that both of their mothers were having tea right now. Inko looks over at both of the boys and surprised to see them here. Oh wow, the both of you are back earlier than I thought. I thought that the both of you would be causing mischief out in the rain. Minsky was actually annoyed with both of the boys. No, you could have at least texted us if you're going to be late. Inko might be okay with the way the both of you act, but I'm sure not. Inko tried to calm down Minsky from going off on the boys. Oh come on, the both of them are just acting like their fathers did back in the day. That was the main reason why we fell in love with them. They were rebels doing their own little things. I swear if they didn't become heroes, they would probably gotten into so much trouble that they would ended up in prison. Minsky started to get even more annoyed with Inko for being so laid back how the kids were acting. And that's the exact reason why they act like this. They're so full of pride and ego that they don't even realize that times have changed since back then. We can't allow them to have the same thought process of their father. We should teach them some discipline and respect for their authority figures. Izuku was playfully cleaning his ear as he was just listening to this whole fiasco. So, are we done here? I want to go discuss training programs that Bakugo and I are going to do during the 10 months before UA. Bakugo didn't seem to be listening as he took some of the crackers off of the coffee table that was right next to the tea. Are you finally done yapping, you old hag? We have things we gotta get done. Minsky started to get mad as blood vessels started to pop out on her forehead as she grabbed both of them and hit them on top of the head as hard as she could to make them dazed. I seriously will pound some manners into the both of your thick skulls no matter what anybody tells me. Izuku just held onto his head in pain, wanting all of this to finally stop. I'm very sorry, Aunt Minsky. I'll make sure to watch my mouth from now on, so please don't do that again. Bakugo got even more angry as he started to shout out loud. Why the hell would you hit us, you old hag? You're just wasting our time with your boring lectures. Bakugo and his mother continued to yell at each other for a few minutes, while Izuku and Inko were just sitting on the couch sipping tea watching the both of them, only for the front door to swing open and two figures standing right there in the door frame. Everybody then looks over to see a man in a black trench coat wearing black boots and a white scarf with black hair staring at all of them. I hope we're not interrupting anything, but you know that I like the house to be quiet when I come home after a long day. It's bad enough that I had to work with the big oaf today. The man standing next to him actually was very offended by that comment. Oh, excuse me for not brooding about everything and feeling that life just isn't fair. I'm trying to be optimistic and manly for the people who need us. Ko jumped up onto her feet as she ran over to the front door and hugged her husband very tightly. Welcome home, darling. I've missed you so much, Hiei. Hiei just turns his head, blushing a little bit. What have I told you about acting this way in front of everybody? Izuku walks over as he does a little bit of a bow towards his father father. Welcome home, father. I was wondering if you had some free time that you could actually end up helping me with my quirk. As the three of them were talking, a man with an orange pompadour and a white trench coat with a pair of also baggy blue jeans walked past him and went over to his son and wife and separated the both of them. Why is it that every time I find the both of you, you're either arguing or trying to kill each other? Minsky had a very pissed off look on her face as she went up to her husband and punched him right in the face as he fell over bleeding. Maybe if you were a better example, our boy wouldn't act like a ruffian. Don't think just because you have a high status in hero society, I can't kick your ass, Kuwabara. Kuwabara was clenching onto his nose, making sure that the bleeding had completely stopped. I'm sorry, dear. I don't know what came over me. Truly, it is my fault for getting involved. Bakugo was just so furious watching his father give up so easily. Come on, Dad. Stand up to Mom for once. Show her that you actually have some courage like you do against the villains that you fight every day. Minsky was just annoyed with her son and her husband's groveling as she picked the both of them up and threw them out the front door. The both of you can come back when you actually know what manners are without having to throw out your pride. EA was watching the whole spectacle, actually chuckling a little bit to himself. It's good to know that their family dynamic doesn't change no matter how much time has passed. He then looks over at his son with a very stern look. But I think we should also take this as our sign to leave. Since the rain is actually getting heavier, there's no better place for us to start our practicing. Izuku just nodded as he agreed with his father. If you think that is wise, I'm ready to go whenever you are. Both of them went to the front door as they were about to go through it, but then they looked back to see Inko, who was a little bit sad to see them go so soon, but then she told them that she'll have dinner ready when they get back. As the both of them leave the apartment, they come across Bakugo and Kuwabara, who seem to be having an issue about how they handled the situation. After a little while, they went to the beach to start their practicing, only for them to notice that the rain has gotten a lot heavier. EA started to look around, making sure that nobody was nearby to see what was about to happen. Alright, I want you to show me your darkness flame. Unleash your dragon and show me everything that you have. Izuku was surprised, not expecting his father to want to see his darkness flame so quickly. I'll try, but I don't think I can do anything as impressive as you can do, father. EA looked annoyed, not wanting to hear any kind of excuses. I don't want to hear your excuses. I want to see results, so let me see your dragon of the darkness flame already. Izuku started to channel all of his heat and strength into his right arm as it started to reveal a black dragon-like birthmark. As it started to glow with energy, he shot out a medium-sized dragon the size of a train. It looked pretty thin as it started to go around, destroying all of the rain and turning some of the sand at their feet into glass. But it doesn't last long as Izuku starts to drop to his knees as the dragon at the same time starts to dissipate as the rain starts to fall even heavier than before. I'm sorry, I couldn't hold it any longer. My body started to feel so much pain and I couldn't breathe. I don't know how you handled releasing that thing for so long. EA looked up at the sky as he started to let out a massive heat wave like dome that made a pocket between them and the rain. Years of practice, along with the times being different around the world being filled with prejudice, so you had to be ready to protect yourself no matter what. But luckily now times have changed and we no longer have to worry about that kind of stuff anymore. Zuku stood up after a few seconds, still breathing very heavily. Hey, if it's not too much trouble, do you think you can show me your version of the darkness flame? I want to see how powerful I could become. EA thought about it for a second as he started to get closer to the water, not wanting to be on the sand or anywhere near the land. Sure, but I'm only going to show you this because we're at the beach and it's raining. If it was a regular day, I would say no. EA then throws off his trench coat, revealing his own black dragon mark on his arm. As a purple orb showed up in his hand, all the moisture in the air started to dissipate all around him. It's almost like the weather itself is changing on a dime as his power continued to rise up, making even some of the seawater in front of them start to boil. He then clenched his fist as he reeled his arm back, then lunging it forward, letting out a massive dragon of black flames. Dragon's head alone was the size of a bus, as the rest of its body was the size of a city. As it flew over the ocean, all the rain in the area started to evaporate, turning it into nothing but vapor, while the sand underneath his feet started to turn completely into glass. While the dragon was dancing in the air, causing all the rain in the area to disappear and turn it into a bright sunny day. After about 2 minutes, the dragon disappeared, and all those who saw it were looking up at the sky, wondering how much that dragon just changed the world. But this caused Kuwabara to come running as he was yelling at everybody, wondering what was going on. I thought we were trying to keep the kids training under lock and key, but there you go, shooting around giant black dragons over the ocean. That's definitely going to get a bunch of people's attention. Bakugo looked up at the sky, realizing that all the rain had completely stopped in amazement of all the destructive power that the dragon had within it. Can you do something just as destructive, Dad? You've been fighting side by side by your other two friends for years. You have to have something just as powerful. Kuwabara started to stroke on his own chin, wondering if he should show his son his ultimate technique, but he didn't realize that his ego was starting to get to him. If he didn't show off a little bit for these kids, he would be underestimated. Sure, but I'm going to need everybody to stand back. Hiei, do me a favor and make sure to check sonar to make sure there's no ships nearby. Hiei nodded as he pulled out his cell phone. After a few minutes, he actually was able to confirm that there was no ships nearby. Go for it. According to my sonar and the people who I have looking around, probably you have about 5 minutes before any ships get within distance of us. Kuwabara smiled as he started to channel energy into his sword as he reeled himself back into his stance as he started to swing his blade forward. Dimensional slash. As the sword was swinging downwards, the ocean started to split right in two in front of him. It went on for miles into the sea. If you were to look deep inside of the slash area, you could actually see all the way down to the sand floor. It was awe-inspiring, wondering what caused these two people to become so powerful. I hope that I was able to leave a long-lasting impression. This was a destructive capability that we were able to learn throughout our years of training and from battle experience with villains, so I hope that when you guys take over and we retire, you'll be able to have just as much power, if not even more. Bakugo had an excited grin on his face as he let out small explosions from the base of his palm. That was so cool, Dad. That was way better than some stupid flaming dragon. Izuku's ears started to twitch a little bit after hearing that comment as he was a little bit angry. Oh sure, if you like attacks that are so simple that it can only go in a straight line, simple-mindedness must run in your family. My family's dragon technique can move all over the place and can last a lot longer than one puny sword swipe. Both Bakugo and Izuku grab onto each other's shirt collar with a very pissed off look on their face like they're ready to kill each other. Before the both of them could throw a punch at each other's face, their father stepped in as Hiei threw Izuku down into the sand, while Kuwabara put both his hands on Bakugo's chest, pushing him back, giving him a look like calm down. Listen son, it doesn't matter if the sword or the dragon is better, it's what you believe is best that truly matters in the end. Hiei started to snicker as he just shook his head back and forth hearing that ridiculous comment. If you truly believe that your sword is just as good as the dragon of the darkness flame, you must be living a life of denial. The sword would be destroyed by my dragon easily along with your body. Kuwabara had a tick mark on his forehead like he was annoyed as he turned to look at Hiei. Don't even, I know that I could use my sword to take down your pesky little dragon. I would decapitate it like it was butter. Kuwabara and Hiei were getting ready to use their ultimate techniques again to prove that they were the superior. As they charged up their energy, a blast came in between the both of them, stopping them right in their tracks as they looked over at the beach staircase. They both see a fully grown man wearing white sneakers and a blue jeans along with a white t-shirt and green jacket as he had black hair, along with a man who had pure white hair and fox-like ears wearing a white kimono with a silver fox tail, with slip-on shoes that seemed to have the same color as his skin. Before anything else could be said, the guy with the green coat decided to speak up first. How are the both of you fighting over which one is better again when you know the answer to that question is neither? My spirit gun is the best out of both of you. The man with the white hair just started to smirk as he shook his head back and forth. We're all wrong. My killer plants are better because I know how to use them all properly instead of just rushing in and using brute strength. Hiei was getting more annoyed by the situation. I don't feel like I need to continue to have this conversation with you, Kurama and Yusuke. Kuwabara just had the biggest cheeky smile on his face. It's good to see you again, Urameshi, along with you too, Kurama. Did you bring your kids as well? Yusuke smirked as he started to whistle for his daughter for her to show up. Knowing her, she's probably already been watching us, hoping that she didn't get caught up in either one of your guys' attacks. She loves to swim in the ocean as soon as she can. Everybody kind of had a blank expression on their face until they actually got worried looking out at the sea, thinking that there might be a chance that they just killed somebody, only for them to hear the sound of somebody calling out to them as they all turned their head to see a girl with long green hair wearing a green jumpsuit with a yellow raincoat. I'm so glad that I stopped swimming earlier, or else I probably would have been killed off by your demonstration, Giru. Yusuke just laughed as he was watching all of his friends have relief faces. Oh come on, she's my daughter. Do you really think I will let her get hurt by all of you acting like fools? Why don't you introduce yourself and say hello, Tsuyu? Tsuyu ran up to everybody as she gave them all a polite little bow. It's a pleasure to meet all of you, Giru. My name is Tsuyu Urameshi. Izuku put both his hands in his pocket, confused on what was going on. It's a pleasure to meet you. My name is Izuku Midoriya. Bakugo started to look the girl up and down, realizing that she had frog-like features. What's up? My name is Katsuki Bakugo, but everybody just calls me Bakugo. Hiei decided to interrupt the entire conversation. Kurama, where is your daughter? We all agreed to meet here on time, and don't give me the excuse that she had something really important to do. Kurama was a little bit amused listening to Hiei be a little bit impatient. Don't worry, she is already here. As he turned around and pointed to the top of the staircase. Why don't you say hello, Momo? A girl with black hair wearing it up in a ponytail with a red jumpsuit and also wearing track shoes came down the staircase. She looked very flustered as she started to bow to everybody, saying that she was sorry for being being so late. Hello there, my name is Momo Yoko. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. Yusuke put his hand on Momo's shoulder, trying to get her to calm down as he started to snap his fingers, making sure that everyone was giving his absolute attention. Now, I know what all of you are thinking. This is a very weird situation that you're all being forced to be put in. The answer to that is that we're all here to train the four of you to do your best for the UA entrance exam, so we're going to give you 10 months of hell. But that's where I'm going to end it off this time, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like and comment down below. Check out our Discord that will be linked down in the description, and also make sure that you check out for our next video, which will be what if Deku had gourmet cells. I know a lot of you will probably be confused by the intro, but I screwed up. I'm very sorry about that. So with all that said, I'm out, guys. Peace.